Hey everyone, I'm Jeff. Do you want to create an animated avatar for your videos? It is a really fun thing to do, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in Clip Studio Paint using the animation tools available. So hop on in. So the first thing we need to do is actually create the character that we're going to animate. And when you do this, you're actually just going to draw everything on one frame. That's right, one frame, or layer in this case. So normally you would have a line layer, an inking layer, and a color layer. Nope, we do everything on one layer. That way, when we go to animate it, we're not trying to color and shade and ink every single cell. And here we are back inside Clip Studio Paint. We're looking at the character that we just drew. Now we're going to animate it. I'm going to show you how. So I use this body as basically like a background. And I'm over on the right-hand side of my workspace. I've got this really bright green background, which I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. And then we've got the character itself. And then on the top, I have 2 animation folders. I have 2 separate animation, actually I have 3 animation folders. And I'm going to show you what all of those do. So let's start from the very bottom and we'll work our way up. So I already talked about the picture. I have a color balance layer that I use to adjust the skin tone a little bit. Let me zoom in here. So I wasn't real happy with the way the skin turned out, so I just used a gradient map, and it makes it more of a gloomier, spookier looking kind of skin. And then I have a hard light on top of that for the highlights. Now my first animation folder is the face. So if I was to turn this off, I have no face, I have no face, help, help. Don't worry, I can turn it back on, it's no problem. But when I drew this with the plan of adding the eyes and the mouth on its own separate animation folder, which is what I did. And if we come down here to the actual cells, what you can see here when I turn this back on is I've got 3 different face styles, if you will. So I've got his eyes really big, and then he's squinting a little bit as he begins to talk, and then his mouth is a little bit more open to simulate that words are being spoken. And on my timeline, I have this added as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And here I slowed down that particular frame by really just stretching it out. So if I go to the frame before it and I grab a hold of it and drag it, I can actually extend that cell. But I'm going to undo that. And the way you add cells to your tracks is by these little tools up here. Like I can remove a cell, or I can assign a cell to a frame. So depending on which one of these cells I want to use, 1, 2, or 3, I can just come here, I can select assign cell to frame, and then I've got my options, 1, 2, or 3. And wherever the insertion point is in my timeline, that's where I can add it. So I just add 3 and see right now on the 8th frame is cell number 3. And you don't have to go through and add each one individually. You can go to the little hamburger menu, and we go to edit track, and we want to assign multiple cells. Now in this menu, I can assign by value, which I want it to start at 1 and end at 1, which means it's going to start with cell 1 and end at cell 1. And I can tell it how many times I want it to repeat. In this case, what I did was I assigned by cell name. I wanted it to start at cell 1, I wanted it to end at cell 3, and I wanted it just to repeat all the way to the end. And when you hit OK, it adds all of those cells in it. So let me these delete. Remove cells. Okay. And now we'll just go through it and just make it short. So we're going to go to edit track. We're going to assign multiple cells, assign by name, start at 1, end at 3, repeat to the end, and hit OK. Bada boom, bada bing. We've got all of our cells added. And I could go back through, and again, if I wanted to have, if I wanted to sit in a particular cell for any length of time, I could do that. Okay, so let's move on. So we talked about the face. Now let's talk about his little magic wand. So on the second or folder number 2 is a tween animation. And by tween animation, what I mean is that I'm not really creating separate frames that simulate animation. What I'm doing is I'm creating keyframes and I'm moving an object around in time and space. So in this case, I have his wand. And if I highlight each one of these keyframes, as you can see, the wand moves back and forth. So let's say I wanted to add a keyframe right here. I put my timeline insertion point where I want it. I make sure that enable keyframes is selected, of course. Now I'm just going to hit my control key. As you can see, there's a nice blue frame that's highlighted around the object. And I'm just going to grab a hold of the object and I'm just going to, let's move it over here like that. And as you can see, it created a new keyframe at that point. Now, there is no real good way to do this other than making sure you do the following. Make sure your animation folder is selected. Make sure that you are on the cell that you want to manipulate. Then move the timeline, then hit control. Otherwise, what can happen is that you can end up selecting something else you don't want. And the other thing is you can't put your mouse inside of the object. You actually have to move it by touching the blue frame. If you do anything else, see, I just moved the whole body and it's like it gets confused. It doesn't know, well, I don't know what you want, so I'm just going to give you everything. And now for the last animation folder is his left hand. No, right hand. Right hand is facing me. Left to you as the viewer. Anyway, same thing. I make sure that animation folder is selected. Make sure I click on that cell. Click on the point I want to move it on. I hit control. And I can move that hand wherever I want to. And then as I hit play, the animation plays and see the hand has a lot more motion now. But that is it. That is how you create an animated avatar. Oh, and one more thing I almost forgot. Let's talk about this bright green background. So why do I have a bright green background? Well, that's a great question. I am so glad you asked. The reason why I have a bright green background is that when I use my animations in CapCut or another video editor program, but I highly recommend CapCut because it's been so good to me over the last couple of years. When you remove the background of your animation, you want to have a color that's not associated with your image so that you can use the chroma key function. So what you're going to do is you'll color match in your background remover to the color you want to remove. In this case, it's this bright green color. by removing that, or by doing that, you leave your actual design or animated movie intact. Let's say if I had chosen a white, I'd move the background. It's going to look for every color in there that's white. Or if I gave it a purple background, then it would take out every color that was purple. And then you might be naked. And we don't want a naked avatar. That just would be wrong. So, and that is why you have a bright green background. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already thought to subscribe to my channel, I please hope that you think about it. I get so excited over subscribes. I even get more excited when I see the like button get pushed, because that's where I get my energy from to keep creating more and more of these videos. I hope you learned something from this. Have a great night, and I'll see you on the next video. Keep on creating.